and welcome to Economics and You. I'm your host, Mr. Samuelson. Today, we are going to be looking at starting a business. A few things that are important to know if you ever want to go into business for yourself. Number one, getting started. The person who actually has the idea to start this new business and goes out and does it, those people are called entrepreneurs. We want to make sure that we know that word because an entrepreneur is what drives the small business economy and really the large economy in the United States. These are the people who go out, have ideas, start businesses, create products and services that are then sold to the population as a whole. And without entrepreneurs, a capitalist economy cannot function. Now, entrepreneurs are individuals who are willing to take a risk to follow through on these ideas. The risk aspect of this is very important for us to know and understand. They also have to be able to gather all the factors of production, so land, labor, capital. The entrepreneur needs to be able to gather those together, land being resources, labor being human work. Usually a small businessman is going to be their own labor. And then capital, the building or the supplies needed. And they must learn everything they can about their industry before launching this business in order to ensure success. Now, there are organizations out there that can help you, and our government provides some of those resources. You can get these at both the state and federal level. So your state or the federal government in Washington, D.C. can both provide some help to new businesses or startups. Through the federal government, the organization that does this is the Small Business Administration, the SBA. The U.S. SBA looks for ways that they can support small businesses and sometimes grants them some money to get started. Also, we have privately and publicly funded small business incubators. These are support groups for these small businesses. Sometimes you might even have a specific location that houses new startup businesses, and community members come in and support these businesses as they go. Sometimes just out of their own goodwill and charity, and sometimes for a percentage of future profits. But however it's done, it helps these small businesses get started when they would have struggled to do so without this help. We can also get help from the internet. The internet provides a whole wide range of information which new businesses can need. So you can go in and you can research how to get your business started, how other people have gotten theirs started, things to look out for, to avoid. But you can also find some funding there. There are all kinds of online Kickstarters or these sites that allow you to put your idea out to the public and then ask the public for donations to help you get started. GoFundMe is a popular one, Kickstarter, Indiegogo. These are all organizations that ask for donations for a variety of causes, but one of those causes can be to help you start your new business. Elements of an operation. So elements of business operation, these are the things that every startup business needs to know and understand before they get going. We're going to go into each of these 4 items individually, but they are expenses, advertising, record keeping, and risk. Let's look at expenses. You have to spend money to make money. You've probably heard this before in your life, but if you haven't, let me say it again. You have to spend money to make money. This is the idea that you need some degree of cash to start up your business. And you start that business to then make money. Running a business means you have to purchase all your startup capital. That is your building, your machines, whatever you need to have to make it. If you're starting a bakery, well, you need ovens, you need a counter space, you need a building to have it in. You need to be able to pay bills. All of that costs a lot of money, and you're going to be spending it before you make a single dime. You also need to build up an inventory. So again, if you're a bakery, you've got to bake the bread. So then you've got to pay for all the ingredients to do that before you can actually sell it. If you're making shoes, you've got to build up an inventory of shoes. Whatever you're making and plan to sell, you've got to have a lot of it on hand, and that's going to cost. Also, there are wages to consider. And this isn't just the wages of the people who work for you. What you have to consider is your own lost wages by starting a new business. You might start that new bakery and you might work your tail off for a year. And at the end of the year, you were profitable. You made $14,000. Okay, you made $14,000 at the end of the year. You could have made $14,000 in a year being a fry cook at McDonald's, but you passed up other wage opportunities to run your bakery. So if you are giving up a job that pays $50,000 a year to start your own business, and at the end you only profited $14,000, well, you've lost quite a bit here in opportunity cost, giving up wages elsewhere to run your own business. So keep that in mind as well. Advertising. Without any established customers, startups don't have customers, you need to reach out and you need to find your customers. Now, there are several basic ways that you can do this. A lot of them are well known. We've got internet, television, radio, magazines, newspapers. You can print flyers and hand them out on the street. This is all advertising, and this is all ways to attract customers. You can choose a lot of ways to do this, but in today's modern society, the one that you really have to have and no startup business is really going to be successful without is a website or some sort of web presence. Maybe it's just a Facebook page. But having some sort of web presence so people can track you down on the internet is really a must today. Record keeping. Businesses that fail to keep records usually fail. You've got to know what's going on in your own business and be able to keep track of what's happening. This is especially important for our small businesses here. When you keep track of all expenses and income, that is the money you're spending and the money you're making, you do this to ensure that you're profitable and that you're paying bills. Make sure that you're paying all those bills on time. You want to make sure you're making enough money to survive. Additionally, when you keep all business receipts, that is all the money that your company spends on the business, you can deduct those costs from your income. So if you made $100,000, you'd have to spend you'd have to be taxed on $100,000. But if you spent $70,000 to make that $100,000, you subtract the $70,000 from the $100,000 and you only pay taxes on the $30,000. This is very important. This is net business income. It's the only thing that's taxed. If you pay taxes on the whole $100,000 that you made, you're going to go out of business. You only pay taxes on your net income. Risk is the fourth factor. Starting a business is risky. You got to know that. You got to know it going in. Starting this business can cost a lot of money, and you might never get that money back. Let me repeat that. You might put $20,000 into starting a new business. That money could be gone. You could never see it again. And you have to be aware that is a risk when you start. Now, many businesses are profitable, but barely worth the owner's effort. Again, this is the bakery that makes $14,000 instead of going off and being a fry cook at McDonald's, right? You might love what you're doing, but the money isn't really there. And that's where a lot of businesses fall. Not all, but a lot. But some few do become wildly successful, and there are rewards to be had if you're willing to take the risk and you've got that great idea. All right, well, thank you for joining me today. That is all. I hope you learned something, and farewell.